Hi everyone, Layman here. As promised, I'm here with a video today where I'm going to quickly show you how to run a Chia node and how to start plotting using your free hard disk space and plot for Chia plots and start farming, or as I call it, playing or plotting the Chia lottery. Right, without further ado, we'll jump straight in. First of all, what you need to do is you need to be on the chia.net webpage. When you go onto the web page, the main home page is a download page. You can basically click on install the Chia blockchain, and it will take you to a GitHub page. You download your corresponding version of the system. So I'm running Windows, so I downloaded Windows. I'm not going to do that again because I've already done it. I've downloaded it and it's already on my system. Once it's downloaded, you install it like you would with any other software, and eventually it'll pop up on your desktop. Once it's there, you double click on the icon, and it will bring you to the first screen, which will ask you to generate a 24 word key phrase. That is very, very important that you have that generate a new private key. Once you've generated the private key, make sure you store it where it's secure, or write it down, because if you lose that key, you will lose access to your wallet and all the Chia coins that are contained within. So it's really important that you actually get those 24 words, write them down in the sequence and in the right order from 1 to 24, and save them somewhere. Once you've done that, it will take you to the main wallet, and that's what the screen will look like. I downloaded it and it hasn't quite, because I switched it off, it hasn't finished synchronizing with the blockchain. So once you download it and open the app, the first thing you will notice, it will say on the right hand side that it's connected to the blockchain, and on the left side it will say it's not synchronized or it's synchronizing. So once it starts synchronizing, you need to leave it running until it says synchronized. But whilst it's synchronizing, and this process can take anywhere up to 8 hours, maybe longer, so you need to keep this node running until then. So the software backs up it's as a multiple sort of function software. So you have the full node, the Chia node, running within this software. You have your wallets. You can have or add plots. You have your Chia farming, and you have your private keys. So it's a multifunctional software, and it does pretty much everything that needs to be done on the blockchain. So whilst it's synchronizing, there is nothing that will prevent you from actually start plotting. Plotting can take a long time as well. In some occasions or some instances, it can take up to 8 hours, 10 hours to actually complete the plots successfully. So I think the quicker you start, the better it will be. To start plotting, you need to have two things. Firstly, you need at least 300 gigabytes of hard disk space, which has to be an SSD or solid state disk space. That is where all the plotting is actually done, and it's quite important that that is there. So at least, as I said, at least 300 gigabytes of space will be required on an SSD. Then you need the actual space to do the plotting on, which is going to be whatever space you have, and that has to be a HDD drive, so hard disk drive. There is a certain format that needs to be had on the hard disk drive. I can show you. So if you go on the website, this information is all available there. If you go on, this is for example my hard disks that's allocated, and if you see here it says the file system. So the file system you need for plotting is NTFS. There is another file system called the FAT system that will not work, so it has to be an NTFS system based hard disk drive. And what happens then is once you have your hard disk space allocated to it and you know where you want to plot, you can go onto the plot section and click on add plot, and it will ask you what the plot size is. So it will require 101.4 gigabytes of space for one plot. Temporary space required is 239 gigabytes. You will choose the number of plots depending on how much space you have. You can choose the plot size as well. You can make them bigger or you can make them smaller. So if I make them smaller, the mainnet required size, the minimum required size for the mainnet is K32. So if they need a K32 size plot, which for the blockchain, I don't know why they give you an option of a smaller plot of a K25, but that's how it is. If you have more space, you can obviously create bigger plots or you can create more plots. Now this is the next step. So you will need to select a temporary directory. And as I said, you will need an SSD for this. So it's a solid state drive, because this is where the computing is going to be done. So there are two separate things that you need to be aware of. So you need some space for doing the computing element of the farming, and then you need another set of space which has to be HDD, which will essentially where the plots are going to be generated and the keys and the numbers and sequences are going to be stored. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'll just sort of go and name this one computing. And so this one is going to be the computing element, and this one is going to be the plotting element. And once that's done, I can simply click on create plots and it will start plotting. And once it gets plotting, obviously you need the adequate space. I don't have that at this moment in time, so I'm just going to cancel this plot because it's going to damage my computer if I carry on. So I'm going to delete it. But once that's done, plots are created. That's all you need to do, and all you need to do is keep it up and running in order to generate the plots, and then for the plots to take part in the blockchain selection process for the Chia rewards, or Chia lottery as I call it. So that's it. It's very simple and it's very easy to do. I'm now going to shut this and just tell you one more thing before I actually conclude this video. So what needs to happen is, in order to for the plotting to work, your computer needs to stay awake. You cannot let your computer go into sleep mode. In order to do that, you just click on the control panel and go into your system and security settings. And it will say free up this space, etc. So you will need to go into the power options, and you will need to disable the sleeping cycles for this computer, so it stays awake and doesn't fall asleep. If it does fall asleep, then the problem is going to be that the computer is going to shut down, the farming or the plotting is going to stop, and when you launch the computer back up, you will have to start from the very beginning, which is quite honestly a pain in the backside. So all that time that you've been sort of plotting, 6 hours, 4 hours, or whatever amount of time you already spent, that will all get loosed. So if you go onto the control panel, you see change when the computer sleeps. Click on that, and it should eventually take you to the screen where you can change those settings. I'm sorry, this computer is a bit slow because it was still shutting down that program, and now it should work slightly better. So there we go. Dim time I've set on whilst it's on battery because it's a laptop. It's on 2 minutes. Turn off display never. Put computer to sleep. Make sure that's set to never. And then when it's plugged in, it has to be never as well. Make sure that these settings are correct. The computer doesn't fall asleep. If the computer sleeps, you lose all your work that you've done. I hope this video is helpful. Thank you very much, and stay tuned for more informative videos. And if you haven't already subscribed, please make sure you subscribe to the channel to keep getting notified with further projects that I look into and further informative videos on different projects that are currently up and running. If you find this information useful, make sure you smash that like button. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you soon. Look after yourselves.